Hey everyone, Tyson the Subaru Specialist from Subaru Prince George here. I have the pleasure of introducing you to the 2025 Subaru Forester Limited in the crystal black silica. This is a full redesign year for the Forester. 24 is a completely different model versus the 2025s. Updated exterior, interior, drivetrain, and technology. It's a pretty significant improvement. It's a much more refined vehicle versus the outgoing model. So first things first, front end, completely different than the previous Foresters. Definitely kind of a step in a different direction from what they've traditionally gone with. You've got a lot of hexagonal shapes on the front, that grille hexagonal, gray painted metallic on all of the limited grills like this. And you get those same highlights down here with hexagonal patterns on the front bumper. We've got new styled fog lights, which are actually quite aggressive looking at night, and we have different headlights. They are still LED steering responsive headlights with high beam assist. Very, very bright. Night driving in these is a blast. Absolutely fantastic. It's still definitely that boxy SUV that Subaru's kind of known for the Forester, which is nice. We've got cladding that hides very well on the crystal black silica. We've got 18-inch wheels. I really like the design of the new wheels for them. We've got gray painted mirror caps along with integrated turn signal. So gray is kind of the highlight color on the exterior of the Forester. We get that hexagonal pattern again with another gray highlight, and I'll give you that side profile. It's still definitely a boxy SUV style crossover. It's powered by a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine, 180 horsepower. Good power, good economy. You've got 8.7 inches of minimum ground clearance, which is more than your average half-ton pickup. So these will go further off the beaten path than most pickups, especially for day-to-day driving. They've changed some of the badging. Symmetrical all-wheel drive badge is not on the back anymore, it's on the side. Absolutely massive fuel door, which is not a bad thing. There's no release lever. It's locked or unlocked based on the key fob, so the vehicle is unlocked. Well, driver's side's unlocked. It's unlocked, so this is unlocked. It's tied just to the driver door. And then if I click lock, well, it is handy. One less thing to have to play with, but it is nice. New taillights. That's what that red reflection over here was when I was showing you that. Subaru integrated into the taillights. I like these new designs. You've got half of a hexagon there, and the other half is, of course, on the other side. Now, there's normally a black painted strip between the taillights. We're on a black vehicle, so it's obviously not going to stand out. But there's the other half of the hexagon. I'll give you that rear 3/4 view. I think it's a good looking vehicle. Still very Forester-y from the back. New reflectors, very similar styling to the front fog lights. We've got backup sensors integrated into the rear bumper, those little black circles. They'll actually apply the brakes if things are gonna hit something in reverse between speeds of 1 and 15 kilometers an hour. More of the hexagonal design language. Even our exhaust cutout, you've got the same hexagonal pattern around it. We've got Forester debossed into the rear hatch. Now, something I initially wasn't a huge fan of was the fact we have a kick gate, but it's been growing on me. So you kick and you back up. It has to sense the key moving away. You don't have to do it as quick as I just did there, that's just habit. But it leads to a ton of storage here. Very tall, wide, and deep. Nice privacy cover, hides everything from the top of the seats down. Handle, which I like, it's a lot better than the piece of plastic they had you grab previously. That's an adjustable piece back here because these front seats can recline. And you can actually take this out and tuck it underneath this new cargo tray and false floor. And you can kind of see where it's supposed to slide across. We've got a little bit of storage there, and underneath that, we have our spare tire. Temporary tire, but still a spare. We've got grocery bag hooks on either side. There's a 12-volt power point on the rear driver's side. We have the ability to fold down the seats at the click of a button, and we can dramatically increase that storage. You move houses with this without a problem. We have a Harman Kardon upgraded audio system, absolutely phenomenal audio system in here. And Subaru's done some cool things. You've got some Easter eggs, you've got a telescope there, you've got some birds, you've got, this was the hardest one for me to find, that little mountain. You can't really see it from the outside. And then you got things like a compass. There's a bunch of others. I'll include the video link where I go over all of them. And we've got our LED hatch light. You can shut it off, or it'll shut on its own when you close the hatch. Now, initially, I was thinking this was the only way to close it with these buttons or off the key fob or from the driver door. But the reason I like the kick gate is if I grab something, both my hands are full, how am I supposed to do that or access my key fob? Kick motion, back up. It beeps 3 times, and on the 3rd time it closes. So it is handy in that regard. I do actually quite like that. It's growing on me. Now, we do have roof rails with the integrated tie downs on the front and rear. Now, you may have seen some of the low profile roof rails. Those are only on the Sport and the Premier. You get the regular raised one with the integrated tie downs on the Limited, which I think I prefer. Larger door cups, and the shape is slightly different. I think the design for that will result in less finger marks, ring marks, just because it's so much larger. You're less likely to go in and hit the back. I think that's what's going to end up happening with that design. Now, these seats, when they're folded down, they lift up pretty easy. If you don't push it hard enough to make this red piece disappear, it just springs back up, locks in place. I mean, this you can do one-handed, right? Easy enough. And there's a ton of headroom, ton of leg room, taller passengers fit in the back comfortably. Being the Limited, we get the dark gray / black leather upholstered interior, and we get blue contrast stitching, which I actually quite like. I like the blue. It's not overly in your face like some of the lime greens or the bright oranges. It's a little bit more refined, kind of like the Forester. Fold down armrest with integrated cup holders. The outer 2 rear passengers get heated seats. The person in the middle, in addition to having to sit in the middle, doesn't get a heated butt. But those are just off those. We've got 2 USB ports for charging. We've got vents out of the center console, in addition to the vents underneath each front seat facing rearward. So the second row heats up and cools down very effectively. We have 3 map back pockets on both seats. Great for storage. And easy access to the latch system, the lower anchors and tethers for children. Super easy. Now, these seats, to recline them, as I was mentioning, you just pull on that, and it is kind of hard to do one-handed. Gonna use my elbow. You can recline it a bit. It's not like you're gonna be full recline, and then you just pull on that same tether and it comes back forward. So easy enough to use. Now, Subaru has made this a textured step, and they want you using this as the step if you're loading something up on the roof rails, the crossbars, instead of on the tire, because 1, the tire sits inside the fender. You're not gonna get as much of your foot on that as you will that. And if I'm right at the back here and I go straight up, I'm right at the back of the rack system. I'm gonna end up leaning over, potentially putting myself in a precarious situation, a compromised position, and I could injure myself, depending what I'm loading. Rear door card itself, hard touch up top with soft touch materials here. Not quite ultra suede here, but nice fabric. This is a rubberized soft touch, which I actually quite like, and I really like these door handles. I know you guys can't see it, but this kind of bulges out here, so there's a really nice place for you to fit your fingers, get good grip when you're closing it. So if it's raining, your hands are wet, you're less likely to have it slip off. Just a small comfort thing that I noticed. Got our window switch, a little bit of storage with the bottle holder, and if you need it, child lock. Important to note, this child lock is not tied to that child lock. You have to do them independently. Now, it is a proximity key, so to lock the doors, I've got these lines on the front 2 handles. You wait a second, back up, and the key has to be within 46 inches. Hand in the handle and it unlocks. There's a small audible chirp. I don't know if my mic's picking it up, but there is an audible chirp. And you can disable that, and you can disable the hazards flashing as well. Front door card looks very similar to that of the rear with the soft touch and the soft touch rubberized armrest. We've got front 2 auto windows, regular power windows for the rear, window lock if you need that. 2 position memory settings for your mirrors and your power driver's seat, which is fantastic if there's 2 regular drivers or you have a city driving position and a highway driving position. Totally your choice. There's a little bit more storage along with the bottle holder up front, and of course they don't waste a chance to show you that you got the Harman Kardon system. Seats are power, including lumbar support, and it's the same seating material up front as it is in the second row. And these seats are the same seats that you find in the Crosstreks, so they are designed for long distance travel. They're designed to make it so you're less fatigued. Very strong bolstering, but it's not aggressive like some of the Recaros. Holds you nicely, they break in nicely. You're just less fatigued at the end of a long day of driving. Now, by the driver's left knee, I have the ability to open the rear hatch. I've got a scroll wheel for the brightness of the gauges, and I can turn off that kick sensor for the rear hatch if for some reason you didn't like it or didn't want it active. It is push button start. Foot on the brake, light goes green if the key's inside. My foot's not on the brake, light does not go green. Green means go. We have blind spot detection indicators on both side mirrors, and they illuminate orange when someone's in your blind spot or is going to be in your blind spot on the corresponding side momentarily. And it's not an excuse not to shoulder check, but the visibility in this is absolutely phenomenal. It's really apparent, this small old school smoking window with our mirrors off the door instead of off the A-pillar. The visibility is absolutely phenomenal in the Forester. You're essentially sitting in a big greenhouse. There is virtually zero blind spots. That is something that Subaru Forester is known for, is the incredible visibility. Now, steering wheel itself, there's a little bit of glare here. I'm actually just gonna flip this Forester around and I'll be right back. And I'm back. New steering wheel, leather wrapped with light gray contrast stitching. You don't get the blue that you get on the seats, which I think is kind of an odd choice, but something that I'm really just noticing for the first time now. Left-hand side of the steering wheel, we have our Bluetooth and audio controls. You can accept calls, hang up or decline calls, issue voice commands, or access Siri or Google Assistant. Volume is left to right. This little toggle changes our little display up top here. Gives us different info depending on what we want to look at. Source switches from AM to FM to satellite to USB to auxiliary, etc. And a switch between presets. Right-hand side, we've got our adaptive cruise, we have our lane centering. Both of those use these 3 black boxes, those color stereo EyeSight cameras, to look for cyclists, road lines, pedestrians, and other vehicles. This 3rd wide angle mono camera, that is a new addition. Tucks really nicely behind that auto dimming rear view mirror, but it increases the field of visibility from left to right for it. When I turn on cruise, I get an image of the Forester, and you'll see there's 3 bars ahead of it. Now there's 4. All the way down to 1. That is those are the distance markers behind the vehicle ahead of you that you'll follow at if you catch up while using cruise. So 4 bars at 100 kilometers an hour, you're 150 to 180 feet behind the vehicle ahead of you. Now, if I want to follow closer, I just tap this down and it decreases 1 bar at a time. Lane centering, little image of the steering wheel in the hands, and you'll notice there's the gray lines on either side. Above 60 kilometers an hour, if the EyeSight cameras can see the road lines, they'll illuminate white on the corresponding side, whether that's one or both. And those gray lines illuminate white, just the same color as the distance markers. And after it does that, it'll actually give you gentle steering input to help keep you centered in your lane. It'll help take you through corners, you're more centered. It's not hands-free. Don't drive with your hands off the wheel, it gets mad at you if there's no driver input. But again, you're less fatigued at the end of a day of driving using that. It's a great assist. You don't have to use it if you don't want, but it is there. We've got intelligent and sport drive modes. We've got our heated steering wheel, which is fantastic here in the winter. And then we have our paddles, upshift and downshift, to manually select our own gears if we want. The steering wheel is also tilt and telescopic, so you can adjust it to drivers of varying heights, arm and leg lengths. And of course, that's a manual adjustment. It does not tie in with the memory seats, unfortunately. Over here, 11.6-inch touchscreen infotainment system. Just above that, we've got this little screen here, the driver focus system. You may occasionally see a little red light trying to scan my face. It's an infrared camera. It's designed to tell you if you're not paying attention to the road, if you're drowsy, and you can scan your face in if you'd like. Top portion, we have access to dual function X mode, which is Subaru's equivalent to 4 low on a pickup. It's for hard driving under 40 kilometers an hour. You have to be going under 20 to engage it, but it works very, very well. We've got weather as part of your satellite radio trial. We've got widgets, which you can change around, navigation destinations, and what you're listening to. 4-way flashers, stickers on it right now. Then we've got the main portion of the screen, and on either side we've got volume and tuning. We have map, which is powered by TomTom, your navigation. You can go full screen if you want. No subscription, you've got it for the life of the vehicle. Radio, media, and phone are pretty self-explanatory. Radio's AM, FM, and Sirius XM. Media is anything that's not built into the car, so Bluetooth, USB, iPhone, auxiliary. And then phone allows you to hook up your phone to Bluetooth. You can have up to 5 devices connected at once. Under app, well, connected in the car, only one can actually be actively connected at once, I should clarify. Wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, in addition to the My Subaru app. You gain access to the My Subaru app after the vehicle is registered in your name. Doubles up on the My Subaru app. You can go into settings, car info, you can set maintenance reminders, give you driving statistics. There's a second screen. You can turn off the display if you want. Auto vehicle hold, AVH, is a brake holder for construction, drive-through, or rush hour traffic. You can add additional shortcuts if you want. And when I put it in reverse, backup camera pops up, rear assist braking's on, parking sensors are on, shows you the top of the bumper there, and I can clean the backup camera from inside the vehicle. Best feature ever. I don't believe any of our direct competition has that either, so that's a standalone Subaru feature, which is pretty cool. Below those, we have our home button, our open little envelope or Monopoly house. That always takes you to this screen. We can turn off the auto start stop, the fuel saver. We've got auto vehicle hold. And when you press on the car, it gives you more settings. You can change the driving assistance characteristics. You can turn off blind spot detection or driver monitoring system if you wanted. We've got another way to hook up phones to Bluetooth. We can set driver profiles. And then we have the climate controls. So we do have physical buttons on either side, and it goes up or down in 0.5 degree increments. Or click, brings up the screen. We can click, we can drag. We can sync it back to driver controlled, control where we want our airflow coming from, or being directed, sorry. We can turn on max AC, recirc. We've got big fan strength buttons. We can have it just focus the front, or we can have it focus the entire cab. And then we have our heated seats, 3 stages for both the driver and passenger. Really hard to miss those fan strength buttons. Then below that, we have 2 USBs, an auxiliary, and a 10-watt wireless charger. And they've really changed this center console from the previous ones. This is nice and soft touch, so if you have to rest your knee on it on either side, it's pretty comfortable actually, if that's the need. We have an automatic CVT with manual mode, and I really like this shifter. I think that the ergonomics of it are great. It feels good in the hand. I like the synthetic shifter boot with the stitching. I think that feels good. This is looking kind of matte and not gloss because we still have the plastic on it. Park brake, you pull up to activate. Foot on the brake and push down to deactivate. Then we have our offset cup holders. No drink raisers in these. It's a little taller of a cup holder than the Crosstreks and not quite as deep as the Outbacks. 12-volt power point. Little storage area. That is actually a rubberized tray in there. Then we have a soft touch armrest. It's quite large actually. And then deep storage, no power points in there, but there is a place to run cords through. So I think that's kind of an odd choice personally, but you know, you have a power bank or something in there, you run through, it works. Like I mentioned previously, auto dimming rear view mirror. No switch to flick if someone's got their high beams on behind you, just automatically dims. Your side mirrors are also auto dimming, which is fantastic. We do have the HomeLink system in here, so you can hook up to 3 separate garage doors to your mirror. Very, very handy. We've got an integrated compass there. Headliners are all black now, which is very cool. I'm a big fan of that. I don't feel that it makes it claustrophobic. I didn't really like the tan up top on some of the other ones. I think this is a nice change for them. Got LED map lights, sunroof control. It is just a sliding sunroof. And it will drag the big shade backwards with it if you open it. And then 2-stage, so there's stage 2 all the way open, and it drags the shade closed when you close it. You can't accidentally have the glass open and the shade closed, which is nice. I've seen some horror stories with that happening before. We have our SOS and roadside assistance. That's part of the 3-year trial. It's the My Subaru connected services you get with most new Subarus. And then we got our sunglass storage. We've got card holders on both visors. These visors are very, very big, which I like. I'm sure those of you who are shorter will really appreciate how much lower they come. Vanity light with mirror. And these are extendable to the left on the driver's side, right on the passenger side, so you can block any incoming sunlight you may have. It's that is directly blinding you. Now, I'm going to show you guys the outside of the car with it running. I've got the headlights and the fog lights on. Not that it'll be overly spectacular in this bright sunny day that we have, but that is the quick walkthrough of the 2025 Subaru Forester Limited in the crystal black silica. You can see those fog lights, those new headlights, those daytime running lights. Full redesign this year, 2.5 liter 4-cylinder boxer engine, 180 horsepower, 8.7 inches of minimum ground clearance. And of course, Subaru's full-time legendary symmetrical all-wheel drive. I do recommend coming in and trying one out. Try driving it, especially if you have a previous Gen Forester. You're gonna notice a pretty significant difference versus the previous generation, even versus the 2024. There's a pretty significant difference between the new 25s and those ones. I'm Tyson, the Subaru specialist from Subaru Prince George. Thanks for watching my quick walkthrough of the 25 Forester Limited. If you guys have any questions about this car behind me, any of the tech in it, any questions about any vehicles in the lineup, please put them in the comments below. I love hearing from you guys, answering your guys' questions. If you're in British Columbia or willing to make the short trip to British Columbia to pick up a Subaru, please reach out to me directly. I would love to help you find your perfect car. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll talk soon.